Chris Sale's strikeouts are from another planet. You know that look hitters get when they swing and immediately regret it? Yeah, that's the Chris Sale effect. We've seen it for over a decade now. This tall, wiry lefty with that wild delivery and a slider that just disappears. And no matter how many scouting reports hitters read, they still get jitters every time. White Sox fans remember the early dominance. Red Sox fans saw him break 300 strikeouts. And now Braves fans? They're watching the ultimate comeback arc in real time. At his best, Sale doesn't just strike out guys, he makes them look lost. So how does he do it? What makes those strikeouts hit differently? Let's talk about it. Let's start with the delivery. Chris Sale doesn't throw like most guys. He doesn't come over the top, doesn't give you a clean look. He comes at you sideways with that long whipping motion that makes the ball feel like it's coming from behind the batter's back. It's awkward, it's deceptive, and it's a nightmare for hitters, especially lefties. You pick up the ball late, and by the time you think you found it, it's gone. Now, when you add in the slider, his true weapon of choice, Chris Sale transforms completely. It looks like a fastball out of his hand. Same angle, same arm speed. But then it just vanishes, dives off the table in a blink. It's filthy, not gonna lie. And when he's locating it, forget it, you have little to no chance. Hitters know it's coming. He throws it over 40% of the time, and they still can't touch it. In his prime, you don't beat Chris Sale with scouting reports. You don't beat him with timing. You hope he misses. And if he doesn't, you're just the next name on the strikeout reel. Before he was carving up lineups in Boston or resurrecting his dominance in Atlanta, Chris Sale was a nightmare in Chicago. Pretty sure Chicago fans have tons of fond memories about this beast of a lefty. He came up with the White Sox in 2010 as a reliever, but by 2012, he was in the rotation, and it didn't take long for hitters to realize this guy wasn't normal. From 2013 to 2016, Sale was a machine, averaging 200-plus strikeouts every season, ERA hovering around 3.0, K9 over 10 like it was a cheat code, and that slider? Somehow getting nastier every other day. Chris's 2015 season has got to be his most absurd in a White Sox uniform. No doubt he had a couple of incredible seasons in white, but 2015 arguably stands out the most. He struck out 274 batters, breaking the franchise record, and for nearly 2 months he was untouchable. In 8 straight starts, he made 10 or more strikeouts, tying an MLB record. There were stretches where Sale made even the best hitters look like call-ups. He wasn't just racking up Ks, he was dominating with attitude. Fast tempo, angry mound presence, and zero patience for anything less than perfection. Every 5th day in Chicago was Chris Sale Day. Fans knew it. Opponents dreaded it. He didn't pitch with flair, he pitched with purpose. And in those peak years, you couldn't find 5 better arms in the game. In fact, in any list you come up with, Chris ain't number 5. The only problem? He was too good not to be in the postseason. So in 2016, Boston came calling. And that's when things got even scarier. If you followed the trade news that summer, you'll know that when Chris Sale landed in Boston, it wasn't just a big trade. It was a message. The Red Sox were going all in, and Sale was the ace to lead them, and he wasted 0 time showing why. In 2017, his first year in Boston, Sale was a juggernaut. His 308 strikeouts weren't just impressive, it was the most by a Red Sox pitcher since Pedro Martinez in '99. When you combine that with a 2.90 ERA, 17 wins, and 12.9 K9, it just made things clearer. Chris Sale was the man. Oh, and don't forget, he led the AL in innings, Ks, FIP, basically every metric that matters. He looked like an AI-generated player, a guy dropped into the game just to ruin your day. That was the 17th strikeout game against Colorado, just 7 innings of pure violence. The Rockies didn't even look mad, just confused. By 2018, the workload was catching up with Chris. His innings dropped, but when he pitched, he was still electric. 13.5 K per 9, a 2.11 ERA, and just 102 hits in 158 innings. Not much, at least compared to the big bombs he's been dropping. But in the postseason, Sale closed the door, literally. Game 5 of the World Series, bottom of the 9th, Fenway Park. Chris Sale comes in, blows a slider past Manny Machado, and drops him to a knee. Strike 3, ball game, title. That was peak Chris Sale, unhittable, fearless, cold-blooded, and Boston loved him for it. Let's be real, the numbers back up everything you've seen with your own eyes so far. Over 2,500 career Ks and counting is not something you sniff at. And don't forget, he got to 2,000 faster than anyone in MLB history. It took him just over 1,600 innings. That's really wild. Sale's career K9 sits at 11.1, which ranks among the best all-time for starters and the highest in MLB history among pitchers with at least 1,000 innings pitched. He's also one of the few pitchers with a K to BB ratio over 5, meaning he doesn't just strike guys out, he barely walks anyone doing it. And when he's healthy, he's an awards machine. In 2024, with the Braves, Chris was back in vintage form with an impressive 18 wins, 2.38 ERA, and 225 strikeouts. He didn't just win games, he dominated the league. NL Triple Crown, NL Cy Young, Gold Glove, Comeback Player of the Year. You name that award, he won it all. Not bad for a guy most fans thought was on the downside. If you're a huge Sales fan, you'll notice his pitch mix has changed in recent times. In 2025, he's throwing his slider more than ever, over 40% of the time. Why? Because it's still that nasty. It's clocking in at 78 to 80 miles per hour with elite spin rates and huge drop. Even when his fastball dipped a bit, he just adjusted, reinvented himself. Because guys like Sale, they don't need to overpower you, they just need you to step into the box. Chris Sale has had plenty of dominant outings in his long and distinguished career, but a few strikeout performances stand out as pure baseball theater. Remember that game versus the Rangers in 2017? You could swear Chris would have struck out 20 batters in those 7 innings if he hadn't been pulled at 110 pitches. Eventually finished the game with 12 Ks, but the pace, unmatched. Then there's the 2015 game against the Cubs at Wrigley. Sale punched out 15 batters over 7 innings, just 3 hits allowed. And this wasn't a weak Cubs lineup, this was the team that would win the World Series a year later. That slider was pure evil. Now, the crown jewel of Chris's many incredible performances has to be the 17 batters in 7 innings against the Rockies that we mentioned earlier. He tied the MLB record for most strikeouts in a game under 8 innings when he pulled that off. Chris Sale might not be the same guy he was in 2016 or 2018, but ask any Atlanta Braves fan, and they will tell you how much they love having him on their team. Different jerseys and different stadiums over his career, but the man is still striking gold, just like old times. Most pitchers fade, they lose velocity, lose their edge, and maybe reinvent themselves with off-speed junk and location tricks. But when it comes to Chris Sale, he did it differently. He lost time, he lost seasons, but he never lost his identity. After injuries wiped out most of 2020 and 2022, people started writing him off. Too violent a delivery, too many miles, too much torque. And yet, here he is in 2024 and 2025, looking like a pitcher who found a second gear. He's not the same as he was in 2017, no doubt. He's smarter now. He mixes better. His slider has more drop. His fastball isn't in the upper 90s anymore, but it moves, and it still hides behind that side-winding whip of an arm slot. And the hunger. Still there. Still pitching with a chip on his shoulder. Still walking off the mound like he just finished a fist fight. What makes Chris Sale special isn't just his arms, it's the mentality, it's the edge, the refusal to be average. Most pitchers hope to get back to who they were. Sale? He just went out and became someone new, and somehow, maybe even nastier. Chris Sale isn't just back, he's reminding everyone what dominance actually looks like. That funky delivery, that evil slider, and those strikeouts that make even seasoned hitters look like they've never held a bat. They are all back, in full motion. We've watched him reinvent himself, adapt, and still carve up lineups like it's 2017. And the intriguing part, he's not done yet. So here's the question. What's your favorite Chris Sale moment? That one strikeout or game that made you sit up and say, this dude's different? Drop it in the comments, we want to hear it. And if you loved reliving the madness, go ahead and like, subscribe, and stick around. Because there's always more to say about guys like Chris Sale.